Yes, welcome everybody. Cannabis news. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's May 20th, 2019. I was remiss last week because this right now is officially episode 401. Last week on Friday was episode 400. I went 25 minutes of a show, did not mention it once. When I realized my error, I wasn't going to go back and re-record it, obviously. It was a great show. I was really on fire that day. So I decided now, when we come back, I will acknowledge it's 400 episodes, which is quite awesome. 5 episodes a week. I've done 5 a week every week since we began. I want to say November 2017. Could be way off, but I think that's right. So 400 episodes. Thank you to all of you out there. This, of course, being 401. June 14th, I believe, should be episode 420. That'll be awesome. Maybe that day I'll actually remember to mention that it's episode 420. Remains to be seen. All of that is coming up in the future. Right now, today, talking about New Hampshire and legalization there and a possible delay. Also, marijuana legalization and preventing police from using marijuana odor as an excuse to search cars, and the controversy over gun rights and medical marijuana patients is in Minnesota. Now, we've talked about it before. It's making news in Minnesota. All of that is coming up. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Make sure you're growing safe and poison-free. Natureside is awesome. They can help you be regulatory compliant. They can help you not use banned pesticides. They've been here for 400 episodes and counting, and is an awesome sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside, nature-side.com. It's the first story by Julia Granwitz. Over at marijuanatimes.org, New Hampshire Senate Committee delays legalization efforts until 2020. Lawmakers in New Hampshire had introduced a bill to legalize adult use legalization earlier this month. Seemed like it had a good chance of passing, but now the Senate Judiciary Committee in New Hampshire has voted 5-0 to re-refer House Bill 41 back to committee for further study. These will delay any potential vote, but it gives the committee until December 19th to have a final version ready for the Senate floor. At that point, a vote by the full Senate would happen no later than the end of January 2020. But that still leaves almost a full year before legalization can be a reality in New Hampshire. State Senator Melaine Levesque, that's probably pretty close to being right, a member of the committee said, quote, "I do support the legalization. However, we heard a lot of concerns throughout the testimony, so I felt there were some areas that we either need to tighten up or make it more apparent that we're doing things like protecting children." Of course, this goes back, as I have said many, many times before, to this notion that cannabis is some very dangerous substance that needs to be regulated and tightly controlled. So whether lawmakers are with medical marijuana, well, we have it so restrictive that we know for a fact that only medical marijuana patients with true medical conditions can get a hold of this. Of course, that ends up restricting a lot of people who do need medical marijuana from getting it, all because of the worry that someone who may not be as sick as you think they should be might get a hold of a legal joint. The horror. But that's the thinking of a lot of lawmakers like this. We need to tighten these things up. We'll take 5 or 6 months to think about it and talk about it, because it's very important. We get all the fences around it and the regulations and the restrictions, and we're protecting children, when in reality protecting children is simple as having licenses for retail businesses. Those businesses can't sell to anyone under 21. If they do, they get fines or they lose their license to do business. That's the way it works. That's the way alcohol works. How do we keep kids from getting alcohol? Well, that's the best we've come up with so far. Because when you're a teenager, alcohol is pretty tempting. If I was speaking from personal experience. Personally, I did most of my drinking before I was 21. And by the time I was 21, I was tired of it. It was making me sick. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I rarely do. But anyway, delay. We're going to do more restricting, more regulation, more thinking about this very complicated issue when it's not very complicated whatsoever. This next story from New York, but it's from BuffaloNews.com more specifically. Pot legalization bill may prevent police searches of cars based on smell. When police officers approach a car they've just pulled over, the smell can be instantly recognizable. Marijuana is that particular odor that law enforcement here and across the country often cite as a reason to search a vehicle. Sometimes officers just find a small amount in a joint or a baggie, and sometimes they find other drugs and even guns that help them uncover and solve serious crimes. But a provision in a bill sponsored by Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes that will legalize the adult use of marijuana will prohibit law enforcement from using, quote, odor of marijuana or of burnt marijuana, end quote, as probable cause to conduct a search, seize possible evidence, or make an arrest or detain someone. The idea is that if cannabis becomes legal, then the smell should be as well. The provision alarms, here's the good part, the meat of the story, if you will. The provision alarms law enforcement officials who say the change would affect how police do their work. If you eliminate the possibility of not being able to search the car at that point, you're going to potentially lose out on the ability to procure evidence, said Erie County District Attorney John Flynn. If that language is in it, I've got a problem with that. Basically, the notion is we smell marijuana, we get to search the car, we may find a gun or something, and or something stolen, and we may uncover another crime. And if you take away the ability for them to use marijuana as an excuse to search a car, they might not find those things. Look, the problem with this, obviously, is that logic can be applied to a lot of things. What if you pull over a young person? They're more likely to be involved in a crime, right? Why can't you just search a car based on them being young? What if they're a minority driving through a bad neighborhood? Shouldn't that be cause to search someone? What if the person has tattoos? What if they have an excessive amount of tattoos? What if they have tattoos on their face? Well, come on. That person's a criminal, obviously. Why would they have tattoos on their face? That's a criminal element. You should be able to search the car and uncover more serious crimes. You see the problem. Any excuse can be used. Most cops, they only smell marijuana. They can just say, I smell marijuana. And if they didn't, who's to prove they didn't? How do you prove someone did not smell marijuana? It's impossible. They pull someone over. Could have been a passing car they smelled it from. It could have been another house. It doesn't matter. They say it. They search your car. The cops can't have carte blanche to search your car for whatever reason they feel like. That leads down a very bad road. It'll solve a lot of crimes. Absolutely. They'll uncover a lot of stolen property and illegal guns, and all sorts of serious crimes will be solved by giving the cops carte blanche to search anyone they want. But there's problems with that. It's quickly abused, and it quickly devolves into tyranny. Then they can kick in your door and search your house based on the same pretext. Privacy is gone. Private rights are gone. Private property is gone. All that's out the window. But if we can't use marijuana as an excuse to search a car, what are we going to do? I don't know. Go do some police work. You got like detectives and things that should be solving serious crimes. Go do some police work. Isn't that what you are? You're law enforcement. You're a district attorney. You're a cop. Go do your job. Why do other people have to do your job for you? Go do it. You're fine. God, so dumb. Yes, I said dumb. Bring the big guns today. So that's out of New York, obviously, but that happens, in a lot of different legalization bills, and a lot of court rulings too have shown that. Not all of them, obviously, but in certain states and certain jurisdictions, court rulings have said that police can't use the smell of marijuana as an excuse to search someone's car, and I am all for that. This last story is out of Minnesota. It's about a Minnesota medical marijuana patient who has learned, much to their chagrin, that being a medical marijuana patient, because of federal law, means that you're stripped of your Second Amendment constitutional rights.
Medical marijuana user is sounding the alarm after he was denied a permit to conceal and carry a gun.
Patrick McClellan was on the front lines in the fight to make medical cannabis legal in Minnesota. He was one of the first to be issued a medical card to use marijuana. He says that it helps him live with a rare form of muscular dystrophy. This evening, Reg Chapman has more on the fight to restore his Second Amendment rights.
How can 20,000 Minnesotans lose their Second Amendment rights, and there's nothing said and there's nothing done?
Patrick McClellan is fighting mad. After years of fighting for Minnesota to legalize medical cannabis, he was surprised to learn his fight made it illegal for him to own a gun.
And when I wanted to sign up for the class, the instructor told me that I cannot take the class when I revealed that I'm a medical cannabis patient.
Federal law prohibits any person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance from shipping, transporting, receiving, or possessing firearms or ammunition. Marijuana is listed in the Controlled Substance Act as a Schedule I controlled substance, and there is no exception in federal law when used for medical purposes.
This is real, this one here, and it's impacting us. It's impacting me in a very negative way. Like I said, I'm giving up, I was told, and I didn't realize this before, but I'm giving up my Second Amendment rights, or I'm not giving them up, I've lost them.
Republican Representative Rod Hamilton spoke up about the issue during a conference committee on the Health and Human Services bill. He is trying to get his colleagues to drop marijuana from a Schedule I to a Schedule II controlled substance. That would mean medical marijuana patients could keep their rights to bear arms.
They believe dropping it to Schedule II is a slippery slope to legalization.
For now, Hamilton wants to address the Second Amendment issue, even if it means backing off of Minnesota's medical marijuana program expanding to include the leaf or flower of the plant.
Now, Hamilton says he is not in favor of recreational use of cannabis, but is very much interested in protecting the rights of medical cannabis patients.
I don't care if he's for recreational marijuana or not. That's irrelevant. There's not much I can add to that other than what I've said before, the notion that you have one thing that doesn't infringe on the rights of anyone else, and you have this other thing that doesn't infringe on the rights of anyone else, and you can't do both, is ridiculous. You have to choose between having a choice of medicine that is marijuana and getting stripped of your constitutional rights to bear arms. That's ridiculous. And the obvious problem, of course, is federal law. Once federal law is changed, then that may not be a problem, and it won't be something that you have to follow as far as federal background checks and such, because it'll no longer be a Schedule I controlled substance. By the way, that story was from WCCO 4 News in Minnesota. Thank you to them. Thank you to all of you for watching and listening today. Here's to 400 more episodes, and then 400 more after that, and maybe 400 more after that with, but hopefully, if you're all interested enough, I'll keep doing batches of 400 episodes in the foreseeable future, into the foreseeable future. Check us out on YouTube, Vimeo, audio-only podcast, of course, Apple Podcasts. Thank you to NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all of you for watching and listening today, and we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.